Champagne, if you are seeking the truth, is better than a lie detector. It encourages a man to be expansive, even reckless, while lie detectors are only a challenge to tell lies successfully. By going over your day in imagination before you begin it, you can begin acting successfully at any moment. I have successfully dealt with my dependence and my chronic pain issues. I ask that my privacy and that of my family be respected on this health issue. The first experiments on the biological properties of radium were successfully made in France, with samples from our laboratory, while my husband was living. Is it not the business of the conductor to convey to the public in its dramatic form the central idea of a composition? And how can he convey that idea successfully if he does not enter heart and soul into the life of the music and the tale it unfolds? Typecasting is really rampant in Hollywood, and because I played a costumed character and did it successfully, it was a real stigma. I won an injunction against Steve Bruce and successfully sued Ian Dowie. When the FDA announced its intentions to join other countries and ban quinolone use on U.S. chicken farms, the drug manufacturer Bayer initiated legal action that successfully delayed the process for 5 years. To sail successfully, you need to observe with great care. You need to identify what the wind and the water are telling you and then find a way to execute, to reach whatever goal you've set, be that simply making it home or winning a race. Fracking has been used for more than 60 years to successfully drill over 1 million oil and gas wells in the U.S. Nonetheless, the prevailing mythology on the radical left is that the technology is poisoning our children by polluting the water we drink and the air we breathe. Donald intends to represent all the people, not just some of the people. That includes Christians and Jews and Muslims, it includes Hispanics and African Americans and Asians, and the poor and the middle class. Throughout his career, Donald has successfully worked with people of many faiths and with many nations. We should note that this latter type of shift was successfully amplified to a considerable extent by Russian physicists using the intense light of a ruby laser whose wavelength is close to that of a transition of the potassium atom. If you really think about the fabric of the United States, or the finance of any economy, finance is a true underpinning of what makes the economy great, if it can be done successfully, responsibly, and with a client orientation. President George H.W. Bush was a patriot who served our country in World War II, led the CIA, an ambassador to the United Nations, was the vice president and the commander-in-chief who oversaw the end of the Cold War and successfully led our troops through the Gulf War. No one likes to be criticized, of course, but if the things we successfully strive for do not make our future selves happy, or if the things we unsuccessfully avoid do, then it seems reasonable, if somewhat ungracious, for them to cast a disparaging glance backward and wonder what the hell we were thinking. For acquiring companies, the excitement is almost always about where they are going, that is, their strategy for gaining greater growth and productivity. But when mergers fail, it's often because no one focused on who they are, that is, their culture, which is critical to successfully bringing different groups of people together. In order to help small businesses gain access to the credit and capital they need to run their business successfully, Congress must adopt policies that support functional capital markets without imposing undue restrictions on providers of debt and equity capital. Before this government came to power, many failing schools were simply allowed to drift on in a pattern of continuing failure. The government is determined to break that pattern and is successfully doing so. I still enjoy watching a batter successfully cross home plate, but nothing thrills me more than seeing the Holy Spirit at work in hearts as the gospel is carried into stadiums, across the airwaves, and around the world. The more intense the nature of a man, the more readily will he find meditation, and the more successfully will he practice it. Clearly older women, and especially older women who have led an active life, or elder women who successfully maneuver through their own family life, have so much to teach us about sharing, patience, and wisdom. When hackers have access to powerful computers that use brute force hacking, they can crack almost any password. Even one user with insecure access being successfully hacked can result in a major breach. Advice is sometimes transmitted more successfully through a joke than grave teaching. The intelligent man is one who has successfully fulfilled many accomplishments, and is yet willing to learn more. Through the inspiration of Václav's words, the courage of his dissidents and the integrity of his leadership, Czechoslovakia successfully transitioned from an authoritarian state to a free democracy at the heart of Europe. With a pen in my hand I have successfully stormed bulwarks from which others armed with sword and excommunication have been repulsed. To successfully lose weight after 40, you need to understand that imbalanced hormones and chemicals have a huge impact on your health. It is possible, however, to live a clean, healthy, and long life with a slim body, even after 40. Spaghetti can be eaten most successfully if you inhale it like a vacuum cleaner. I doubt whether classical education ever has been or can be successfully carried out without corporal punishment. Tears are sometimes an inappropriate response to death. When a life has been lived completely honestly, completely successfully, or just completely, the correct response to death's perfect punctuation mark is a smile. Skill is successfully walking a tightrope between the twin towers of New York's World Trade Center. Intelligence is not trying. For although Claudius had been accused of gambling and drunkenness, not only were no worse sins laid to his charge, but he had successfully established some claim to being considered a learned man. I basically started playing violin at the age of 6. That lasted about 3 years because my previous teacher died and the second teacher didn't really know how to successfully get me going. I have also seen children successfully surmounting the effects of an evil inheritance. That is due to purity being an inherent attribute of the soul. If China stood on an equal basis with other nations, she could compete freely with them in the economic field and be able to hold her own without failure. But as soon as foreign nations use political power as a shield for their economic designs, then China is at a loss how to resist or to compete successfully with them. Diabetes can be successfully prevented and managed by a healthy lifestyle. When not managed, it can lead to severe organ damage and death. If you read enough biography in history, you learn how people have dealt successfully or unsuccessfully with similar situations or patterns in the past. It doesn't give you a template of answers, but it does help you refine the questions you have to ask yourself. We are talking now of summer evenings in Knoxville, Tennessee, in the time that I lived there so successfully disguised to myself as a child. I believe that successfully addressing our national security needs while protecting our basic freedoms and civil liberties requires continual congressional oversight, and I will continue to work to assert the role of this body in carrying out this grave responsibility. By providing outstanding economic leadership, this country can wage its attack successfully, and can thereby build the foundations of a peaceful world. I make mistakes daily, letting generalizations creep into my thoughts and negatively affect my behavior. These mistakes have taught me that the first step to successfully choosing kindness is being more mindful about it, letting go of impatience and intolerance along the way. It was Sultan Qureshi, the character of Gangs of Wasseypur, which brought success as a baddie. But it were the TC and teacher's roles in Masan and Nil Badi Sonata that broke the villain's mold and helped me successfully explore the other shades, be it comedy, intense, or serious, surprising the audience all the time. The genius of a good leader is to leave behind him a situation which common sense, without the grace of genius, can deal with successfully. Will Smith is one of my favorite actors, and he's also a triple threat. He successfully crossed over from music into acting. Also, I liked I Am Legend because it was so unexpected. The movie wasn't what I thought it'd turn out to be. Learning disabilities cannot be cured, but they can be treated successfully, and children with LD can go on to live happy, successful lives. Our focus should be on the more than 70 cures and treatments that have been successfully produced from other forms of stem cell research that do not destroy a human life. As a reward of their clean living and good habits, these great stars have been able to withstand the rigorous test of stamina and physical exertion and have thus successfully extended their most remarkable careers over a period of many strenuous years. Other countries, such as Israel, successfully employ behavior detection techniques at their airports, but the bloated, ineffective bureaucracy of TSA has produced another security failure for U.S. transportation systems. The only countries that have successfully moved from fossil fuels to low-carbon power have done so with the help of nuclear energy. Our computers double in capability on time scales of only a few years. It's hardly outrageous to believe that we will successfully develop thinking machines within a handful of decades, or at most a century or two. If that happens, these artificial sentients will quickly leave us behind. Visit our website for more quotes, quoting.com.